All right, so we'll start it in just a minute as soon as people start logging in. All right, so we've got a couple. I'm going to go ahead and start because I want to get through as quickly as we can. I'm going to go ahead and start streaming my desktop. If you'd be so kind as to follow along, then people can join in as we get started. All right, so if you would be so kind as to go to you should all be logged in at this point and go to the classroom, and you're going to see the classroom page, which has the links and discussions that we're going to go over. Now, inside that document, if you scroll all the way down, you can kind of read through the top to see all of the things that we have. Each one contains a couple links that you can access at your own leisure. One of the things that I do want you to go into is this question logout. Well, go ahead and click on that and open that up. And again, if you'd be so kind as to, should be a shared document. It's shared with everybody. So go ahead and type your name in to the participant name, and then as we go through this, you can type in your questions and things that you have. All right, I think Frank is here as well. Frank, if you could do the same thing and type in your name in that shared document. You're going to find that in the classroom folder, so you need to be logged into that classroom folder first within the learning management. So just you can type in classroom.google.com and you'll find your list of classes, if that makes it easier. And you'll see the list of classes that you have available to you. My classroom link is going to be quite a bit larger than yours because I have access to all of the classrooms within the system. Go to the learning management and open that up, and you'll see the stream that I'm talking about. And I'm not quite sure who's logged in. I don't know who the D person is. There's Frank typing in his name. David, if you'd be so kind as to do the same thing and type in your name. Now, next to in the question comment field, I want you to write in your experience using this platform, Google Hangouts and Google Drive. So if you've had no experience with it, that's okay. Just write that in. If you know it, if you have more experience with it, type in your experience with it. Just so that I get a basic background knowledge before we go on. So if everybody could do that, I'd appreciate it, so I can kind of see your responses. Okay, so the basic background of this whole kind of activity is to give you an overview of the Hangouts and also Hangouts on Air, the two systems that we can utilize to communicate content, to communicate to referee societies. So that's what this whole thing is going to be about. So if you would go into here, okay, and you can see this stream. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new tab, and I'm going to open up my toolbars. Now, there's two ways that you can access Hangouts to do chat. The first one is through your control panel, which is what I'm doing right now. And it'll launch there. Now, this is basically the Google Hangouts from there. And from this point, you can start to do your video chats. Okay, anybody who's listed in here. Now, what comes up here is all of your contacts of people that you've had video conversations with before. You can click on more to invite more people. So this is really and from this whole platform, you can also use to access Hangouts on Air. All right, so this is for conversations. If I want to find my contacts, okay, I can just start to type in somebody's name. All right, so I can type in Mike Lyons. If he's online, it's gonna highlight, okay, or any number of people that anybody who's a contact in mind. Now, the way this works out, fortunately enough, is that it'll find every mic that's associated with USARugbyRefs.org. So in future, it's just like working with USA Rugby. I can type in a USA Rugby name, and that can come up. So it's an easy way to access that information. The person does have to be online for them to see it, and it'll also send out an email to people. Now, let me back up just a bit. This question log, in addition to talking about experience, Frank, I see that I've got an echo. I'm not quite sure why. Okay, so in addition to this, if you have questions through the course of this presentation that you want me to answer, go ahead and pose them down. I'll get to them at the end. So think of this as your mailbox or whatever you want to call it, just to write down those comments and questions that you have. If I don't get answered, get them answered. All right. So we talked about the menu to the Hangouts. Real easy way to start your video conference or your phone calls. You can also do phone calls just dialing through your computer. It does charge sometimes. The video, oddly enough, is free. Okay, so I can go through that. I told you that there's a second way to do this, and that's through your email control. So if I go to email, it'll all right, sorry. Let me go through my control panel. Okay, so again, I can click on this little icon. I can find people, and these are some contacts that I've had before. If I wanted to make a contact with Neil, all right, I can immediately start doing a chat. I can click on the icon to start a video conference to do a voice video chat. Okay, I can add more people to this chat. And so one of the benefits is I can chat with up to 10 people. All right. This is just on the fly. If I want to have a momentary conversation with somebody, I can do that and just add people to those conversations. Okay. Let me go back here. So we've got that idea. Now, if you want to schedule a Hangout, So a Hangout is basically a meeting room, conference room kind of thing. So let me go back to the Hangout. All right. So this is what the Hangout looks like. And if I want to, so we've got this Hangout going on right now. And let me close that out. If I want to start another Hangout, I can type in practice. It'll walk me through the steps. So it's not going to let me go into two at one time. But what it will allow me to do is to schedule that. Let me come into here and add this. So if you go to the cheat sheet that I put on the site, it'll walk you through the steps on what you need to be able to do. All right. You can schedule it with it at any time. You can go on the fly, which makes it easy. When you schedule it, it'll actually go on your calendar, so it's posted there, and anybody who has access to your calendar or receives an invitation can choose to join it. So again, it's pretty user friendly with regards to being able to schedule those meetings. And again, this is not the one that's presented on YouTube. Hangouts on Air is the one that we're currently utilizing. Hangouts is just an easy way to do a conference call, and you can meet with up to, I think it's 10 people on the same video conference. If you notice on this, it'll actually show the people that are on there. So when I've been doing conference calls, these people will be populated in here in terms of who is seeing it, and you can switch over controls to people. I can use the remote control button, which is this, to give other people the option to join in and present their desktops. So not only am I presenting, but I can give that power to other people within that presentation. Again, this only works with the Google Hangouts, not the Hangouts on Air. Okay, so we'll go through both, but the Hangouts is the easier way to work on that. Any questions right now? I'll give people an opportunity. David, you can't see me because I'm sharing my desktop. Okay, let's see. Stephen, to answer your question, so you need to start a Hangout schedule in the future. If you want to create a time, yes. If you just want to meet on the fly, you just go through your email and can do it that way. The Hangouts is obviously something, if you're meeting as a group, I've met with the board on a few occasions and we'll try to schedule those. Very funny. All right. Let's see what else. All right. So you can schedule it at a future time. Hangouts and Hangouts on Air are two different things. Hangouts on Air has an unlimited number of users and it streams to a YouTube channel. The Hangouts is something that you can use to schedule. Unfortunately, I can't show you how to use the Hangouts. Now, one of the nice things that you might want to reference later on is this Hangouts app show. And let me kind of go through this because you'll probably be able to see it and hear it as well. Now, one of the things that's kind of cool about using YouTube with this is that I can over talk on this. Helps out when I'm watching video with referees. We can actually watch the same video together, and it goes through that. Okay, so I'm not going to bother going through that video is there for your leisure, and it's actually a good video to watch on your own time if you want to. I'm giving you the basics for it, and I've given you a link if you need other resources to be able to utilize that. Anything else? So just as a question, did everybody hear and see that video that I posted? Go back to the conversation sheet and add your information if you saw it. Okay. All right, that's an easy fix for Stephen. Now, with the benefit of using Google Groups, you can simply just type in the name of your society in the Google Groups. Let me go back to Google Groups real quick. When I created the societies, or when I created the society classes, I added everybody within that society, the names, and I cut and pasted every USA referee that's in there. And as I've been creating those groups, I've added them to that list. And you, as a member of this USARugbyRefs.org, have access to that. All right. So if we look, let's see, Stephen, if you wouldn't mind writing, please. What's the name of your society that you're involved with? I know it's not NorCal anymore. All right, a bit slow on the uptake, so let me kind of find out. This is the admin side. The super administrators will have access to this, this particular screen that you're about to see. Nobody else will. All right, Stephen Valerio. Now, just as a side, everybody has an alias as well, pelicanrefs.com and usarugbrefs.org. All right, you're with Potomac Referee Society. Okay, so if I go here to Potomac Referee Society, I've added every email address, both personal email addresses and the names of the referees who part of that. So both personal and the usarugbrefs.org email. Now, when I want to create a Google Hangout, I just have to simply start typing in Potomac Referee Society, and everybody will receive that. That's typically what I do when I create a Google Hangout on Air for NorCal, is I'll type in every NorCal referee. All right, so does that answer your question, Stephen? You can, and everybody within USA Rugby Refs has access to those groups, and the Google groups, as long as you're part of that Google group. Now, Stephen, you're part of NorCal and you're part of of Potomac. You have access to both of those, so you can email to both of those groups. Every member in USA Rugby Refs has access to their own Google group and can send emails and respond to emails through it. You can add to that, so you can add as many people as you want. They don't have to be you don't have to be a member. Now you can also create another group. Google Groups is easy for mass emails, so you can actually use that to create a list of just club contacts. That's correct, and you can do that in Google Groups. So it's like Google Groups is really just a mass distribution list. One of the benefits of having a Google Group, though, so for example, NorCal has their boards. When we meet and we document what initiatives the board has voted on, I have a trail of that. No one else can see it except those people within that group, because I've set the preferences to you have to be a member. And when you set up your Google Groups, you can do that. Next week, I can possibly show you how to set up Google Groups, or a future activity. But it's actually pretty worthwhile to be able to have that. Saves a lot of time when you're sending large lists of things. All right, so let's get back to Hangouts, and particularly Hangouts on Air. So I'm going to go to my control panel, which I can access. Let me close this out here. I'll go to a new tab, and I am going to go to Hangouts. If it's for some reason, if it's not in here, okay, you can click on Even More from Google, and it'll find out all of the tools that you have access to. All right, and you just got to find it. What I have here in that control panel is my most frequently used tools. I'm going to go to Hangouts. All right, so I'm going to go to Hangout. Instead of More, I'm going to go to Hangouts on Air. And I'm going to show you the process for scheduling a Hangout on Air. Now, the first thing that everybody has to have, you have to have a YouTube account that's associated with you, that you manage. So if you're creating a Google, if you're creating a Hangout or a presentation for, say, your society, I would suggest that you associate it with your usarugbyrefs.org account. So you have to have it. You have to have it linked up, and you won't get to use Google Hangouts on Air until it's linked to a YouTube account. So I'm here, and I want to create a Hangout on Air. All right, so I'm going to call this session 3, and I'm going to schedule this for next week. And session 3, we'll call this USA Rugby Refs LMS rollout session 3. And I'm not sure what we want to talk about yet. We'll discuss that later. But I could choose to start now, and this is how you would do an invitation to get it going and get it aired right away. But I'm going to schedule this one for later. I can always go back and edit this thing. I'm going to go back later, and I'm going to choose, instead of June 14th, which is today, I'm going to choose June 21st. It's going to start at 5:30. The duration is going to be an hour. And here's where you start typing in your names of your lists. All right, so if I want to make the Potomac Society, I'll learn how to spell. Okay, so you get the idea of typing in the names. Okay, and I can go here. I can choose and see. So this is actually looking for my contacts within within the Google Plus. Okay, now Google Plus is Google's version of Facebook. Now I can just make it. I can also make it this public or private. All right, depending on what I want to be able to do. If I make it private, it's still available, still be seen. It's just not going to be advertised. All right, everybody that I type in here. Now, the Northern California Rugby Referee Society is what this whole program is about, because it was initially started as NorCal first, and then we branched out to be a USA referee kind of affiliate. All right, we're going to share this. Okay, so here's my control panel for this, and I can edit this event. Now, I like to create a theme for this for later on. I'm going to choose this, center it. All right, we're going to set this as a theme. Okay. Now I've saved it. Now, one of the nice things about this is this will immediately go to my calendar. And everybody in Northern California, excuse me, everybody with this has a calendar. And so if let me show you what that looks like real quick. It's kind of a neat feature. If you're in this class, because you're in this class, and I'm going to post this to that class. So so here's the Potomac referees. If I wanted to assign it for every referee, that's where I would go. Now let me go to the it's the LMS rollout. I'm just going to display only this calendar. Okay, so what I want to do is, let's see, Tuesday okay, I'm going to roll that, and we're going to call this and here's the meeting if I wanted to add that. So the benefit of doing this is that once it's in my calendar, it's in my calendar. I can share that with any number of people. So let me go back here to my calendar, sorry. And let me load my calendar. Now, you've seen this here. That's the invitation. And I'm going to go here to this next one. Okay, I can say that I'm going to it. I can share it with other people. I can view it in Google Plus. Now, Google Plus is that program that I was showing when you start advertising the stuff. Now, if we go back to the Google Hangouts On Air, sorry, this one. All right, I'm going to share this event. This is the lesson. Notice that it's the session 3 rollout. I can share this event. I can start typing in the names of any more people that I want to add to it. Okay. Now we go to the groups. Let me go to my groups. And if I wanted to if I just want to invite those people in the Potomac Referee Society. Okay. I can just cut and paste this URL into there. I can go to a new email. I can compose my email. I'm going to type in Potomac. You can see it's right there. Okay, I can cut and paste this. Now I can send that link out just through my email program, or I can go back in here and add there. Now every society, every member within the Potomac Referee Society will be added to this. Now if you notice, it's a different color than the green, because the green is coming from the Google Plus program. The Potomac Referee Society at USARugbyRefs.org is simply, it comes from the Google Groups. So when it's a Google Groups format, it's in blue. If it's in the local society or within the Google Plus environment, it goes green. All right. At this point, Stephen, did I answer your question, or is there other things from other people that we can go over? Okay, I'll come back to this. So we've gotten, let me get rid of this. If you got questions, go ahead and pose them and I can answer them. All right, so we're going to share this. Now, you're going to click start and we'll immediately start it. I can edit this at any time and edit the event prior to starting. If I want to have a question and answer sheet, I can push this out. Okay. This is being aired to, here's the scheduled date if I need to change that. Now, here's one of the cool things. I don't have to be the only presenter. I can invite Stephen Valeria, I can invite any number of people, and all they really have to do is accept that. And what will end up happening is now all of a sudden we have group presenters, which is kind of a cool thing. What will end up happening is down here in the presentation mode, let me go back and stop sharing my desktop for just a minute. Okay, so you see me, I'm the only one that's in here. I sent out a couple of links for people to join. They didn't join, but had they joined the presentation instead of seeing in the YouTube, their pictures would be in this little field here. And again, it's kind of a nice way to share those presentations. Let me go back and I can share the screen shaver. All right, so I can, the Q&A, if I want to control the Q&A, I can turn this off. Right now it's set as on, and I believe as a default, everybody, it's set as on. Showcase app, I really haven't messed with it, so I don't know what to do, and you've got a little applause feature that you can work on. Now within the environment, All right, so let me go back and stop sharing my desktop for just a minute. Sorry. Okay, now there is, in my control panels, there is a little feature that allows me to in the control panel in the top left-hand corner, there's a little chat box that allows me to open up, and people that are presenting or participating within the Hangouts environment can group chat. You've also got the ability within YouTube to have a chat conversation. One of the tricks that I've found through doing this is that I'll have multiple computers, one that's actually showing what I'm presenting. Ah, Stephen, you decided to show up. All right, so while I'm here, since Stephen decided to join me, you can, let me see if.
I can see the menu on the left.
Yeah. Now on the computer itself, what's being televised isn't being shown. So right now I can see Stephen Valerio, but on YouTube I can't. And the reason being is that, Stephen, in order for you to be seen on the YouTube feed, you would have had to join in the presentation beforehand.
Right.
Okay, so I can pop you in there, and it works pretty well. And so as I'm sharing, let me see here. Okay. All right, so sorry about that. I did it again.
It's an 80s music video.
It is. All right, but you get the idea. Let me get out of here because it's terrible. Okay.
There we go.
All right, so and again, Stephen, we can have up to 10 people that are actually doing the group presentation. So we can actually co-present during different times of the year. When you start talking, it'll default to you as a user, so people on the screen can see you chatting, and that comes into view. And then when I present, it'll go back to me. So again, and that's being picked up on the YouTube channel as well.
Cool.
I just want to try something while we're working on this. If I were to, let me go back to my. It might be the fact that I'm actually viewing this on my iPad as well, so it's not refreshing.
Yeah, there's a decent lag between when I was typing in on the Q&A.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
All right. Other questions with regards to this? Let me screen share and go into the question log. Yeah. So David, to answer your question with regards to hoping to get this used, it's available now. The goal would be that people in society start utilizing it, because in my opinion, it's a convenient way to share information and to for large societies to get it out to the populace. And people don't have to be live. We've had just as much experience with people viewing it later, and then posing questions after the fact as things have gone on. Because one of the things that we can use is this question log that I've been doing as part of every presentation. It memorializes that, so then I can answer questions if somebody wants to utilize it and has a question later on that nobody posed. I can go back after the fact and respond to that in an email or some other fashion. With the idea of the classroom itself, okay, every society member, every society has their own classroom, so they can edit to this. So all of these activities that I've added were just really just a conversation. I can go back in here at any time and edit this post within the classroom environment. I could add additional things. I can also respond to people's questions by adding a class comment, which again it's a nice easy way to memorialize an activity, but also to have it ongoing. So the tools tied together, one, the Hangouts and the Hangouts on Air combined with the classroom environment allows for people to participate live, but it also has just as much ability for people to do it after the fact. They can still, everything we're talking about is memorialized within the YouTube video, and we've got activities that are posted within that classroom environment so people can see it. And from an administrative standpoint, I can see who's participating because every log is keyed. And as a classroom teacher, you get to see that. What else? All right. I'm kind of done talking at this point. If there's no other questions with regards to Hangouts, I think the next thing that we probably want to talk to, there's two possibilities. We can talk about the Google Groups and I can post some stuff. I don't really think I need to talk about it. Everybody that has access to the usarugbyrefs.org has access to those user groups. All you got to do is start typing in there, and you can start. It'll populate your email. Where I see again for pushing content is showing how NorCal has used Google Forms to kind of modify how I collect information. I use Google Forms to collect surveys about any number of things, but I can also push. It also has the ability to push the society coaching sessions and referee-generated sessions. We use the Google Forms to start creating the SMART goals that referees have to do. And we're actually, this coming weekend, in conjunction with the test match, the USA referee coaches will be meeting and the evaluators to kind of go over some of these platforms. One of the things that's going to end up happening is a lot of the stuff that will be changing in regards to the coaches' forms. We want to have one centralized coaching form that everybody in the U.S. is utilizing that takes better accountability with the SMART goals and how just aligning what the level 1 coaching is doing with the level 1 officiating course so that we're all on the same page. The referees are expected to do SMART goals, but there's really no way for the referee coaches to document how it's being done. With this system, we're able to kind of integrate them. All right, so if nobody has any objections, then I'm going to kind of go over how we've created Google Forms. I can share some of the forms with you. A lot of it has to do with what works for you guys. It has that ability to, it has the ability for each society to kind of modify how they're doing it. I don't want to push NorCal's content. I want to show how we've done it, and maybe somebody else can tweak it and do something better with it. There's a couple of tools that I'll need to show you how to utilize Google Forms, Google Spreadsheets, and then there's some merge documents that merges the data collected into coaching forms. One of the benefits of having all of our coaching reports in Google Forms is that it goes to a Google spreadsheet, so I can pull up data on a particular referee, a particular coach, and start seeing patterns. That information can then be shared. It can be sent to just a referee or any group of referees. So again, it's that communication vehicle that we haven't yet had that ability to work with. It. We now have that system that's in place.
Yeah, Paul, from my perspective, I know this is weird now, you have someone else who can talk to you. But from my perspective, I love to share these things. Right now, it's going to be just because of where I am in my grade. Obviously, I'm not exposed in terms of the kind of what's going behind the gears with the coaching and in terms of what the coaches are trying to accomplish. So yeah, having that information I could share and just say, this is a template and how they're trying to leverage the tool, but let's make this Potomac, something that works for the society. That's absolutely what I'm trying to drive to do. And, another time you and I can have a discussion around educational tools.
So what I can do is show how first how to create a simple Google form, and how that information is linked to the spreadsheet, and then that information can be then merged to a document that can be sent to a particular referee or a group of referees. That way, that information is now shared, and it's also centralized so that the data I collect over time can then be reviewed and tabulated. So as a manager, I can pull up a referee, see that he's had 10 coaching reports. In one look, I can see the track that referee has done over time and start seeing trends. Any other referee coach can also have access to that information. I can share it I can keep it private so that I'm just sharing it with NorCal referees. Again, that goes back to that Google group idea, that if I create a group of referees in Northern California, I can choose to make them completely isolated so that information is just shared with that group, or I can share it with, maybe I want to share it with the referee coaches and also with the referee evaluators. I can share a particular document that way. And again, that Google Groups idea allows me to do that with a couple of keystrokes rather than finding everybody else's email. Mm-hmm. So I'm adding it once, and now it's memorialized. Anybody with Google Groups and access to this, so everybody can create their own Google group, and then they can choose who they want to add to that group. And they can choose the functionality of it or the security. Can it be open for everybody? Can it be open to just the people within that group? Can it be just so that there's only one person that's allowed to post and everybody else sees? So I think we should probably talk about the Google Groups next week, and just so that everybody has the idea, because I've created a Google group for each referee society, but I don't want to manage it. Right. So each society member or each person within their society who's kind of taking control of this can add to that list. So I've got the list started. It's going to be up to you or somebody else within the society, in each society, to kind of manage it, because I certainly don't want to be burdened with managing all of that data. It'd be nice, but I got other things to do. So I've created it, and then people can start utilizing it and adding to it and editing it. So it works pretty well that way.
Yeah, I think I will be your Potomac contact for better or worse, hence my...
No, and that's originally why I had each society member identify a person that can kind of oversee this. And people have been pretty good about it. So it's just picking up, it'll pick up steam as we go. All right, I'm going to hang up. Hang up, and we'll get this thing posted to YouTube, so it'll be memorialized, and then we'll move from there. Thanks for joining in, and I appreciate next time log in beforehand so you can actually be on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know if you're a voice or what you are on YouTube right now. I've been logging in. I think watching him on YouTube. It's just tough because the kids have practices on Tuesday, so I gotta book on back. So of course I'm still coaching, but yeah, we'll see what we can do on that. Okay, sounds good. We'll see everybody next week.
All right, take care.